In this session, we will demonstrate loading paper into the QSS Green 2 paper magazine. There are two different paper magazines for the QSS Green 2, the single lane and the dual lane magazine. We will demonstrate the single lane magazine first. Although paper can be loaded into the magazine while it's in the magazine tray of the printer, we will remove this magazine to provide more detail. The paper magazine opens by unfastening the two cover latches. The empty core and reel plates can now be removed. It is always a good idea to clean the interior of the paper magazine prior to loading new paper. Wipe the interior of the magazine with a slightly damp cloth or microfiber cloth, paying attention to the rollers and guides. We do not want the rollers to get wet, as this could damage paper. Make sure that the magazine is completely dry prior to loading paper. Use the reel plate locking tool to disconnect the plates from the core by turning counterclockwise. Press the center down to release the lock and remove the reel plate. We are now ready to load the new paper. Remove the plastic cores and then carefully remove the paper from its protective bag. Leave the protective wrapper on the paper roll until it is inside the magazine. We can now attach the reel plates. Secure the reel plate using the reel plate locking tool. Now carefully rotate the paper around until we can attach the second reel plate. Once again, locking with the reel plate tool. We will be placing the paper in the magazine so that the reel sits on the guide on the left-hand side. The leading edge of the paper will be loaded under the paper loading guide up to the loading roller. For clarity, we will first demonstrate loading with a piece of paper from the roll for a better understanding of the position of these guides and rollers. We will now place the paper in the magazine. Pick up the paper by the reel plates and carefully place it into the paper magazine. Place the paper roll into the magazine so that the leading edge of the paper is going away from you. Make sure that the reel plate is sitting in the guide on its left-hand side. Now that the paper roll is sitting in position, let's remove its protective wrapper. Be sure to remove all remnants of the protective paper and its tape. Wearing gloves will prevent fingerprints on the paper. Place the leading edge of the paper under the guide and move it gently up to the paper loading roller. Rotate the roller in a clockwise direction to advance the paper. Advance the paper until it exits the upper guides. Make sure that the paper is in between the guides and advances smoothly. If any paper was damaged during loading, cut it off. Rewind the paper until it is flush with the upper guides. We can now close and lock the upper magazine cover. It is now ready to be placed into the printer. To place the magazine in the printer, pick up the magazine by its handle and carefully place it on the magazine deck. Align the magazine so the gear engages on the left-hand side. If the magazine is placed in the printer correctly, the exit guide of the magazine will be flush with the printer's magazine door. Do not attempt to push the magazine tray back into the printer if the magazine is not seated properly. The magazine tray should roll back smoothly. If the magazine tray does not push back smoothly, reseat the magazine. Do not force it, as this could cause damage to the magazine and the printer. Loading the dual lane magazine is very similar to the single lane magazine. It just has two rolls of paper instead of one. Also, they're both right and left side loading rollers that are independent of each other. The rewind function will affect both paper rolls. Because of this, when loading two rolls of paper, advance both papers equally out of the paper exit guides before rewinding. The other main difference in the dual lane magazine is the location of the reel plate guides. The dual lane magazine has two guides at the center of the magazine, unlike the single lane magazine, which has its reel plate guide on the left-hand side. There are also independent paper guides for the right side and left side papers. As previously mentioned, the dual lane magazine may be placed in either the lower A or the upper B position. Remember to always check the status lights before removing the paper magazine. If the lights are on, do not open the printer, as this means that paper is moving inside of the printer. Also, After changing an empty paper magazine, it is a good idea to empty the waste collection box. The waste collection box is located on the left side of the printer. For more information, please consult your manuals.
The Help menu may be accessed through the brown question mark buttons at the top of the screen. As there may be several manuals loaded, hover over the Help buttons for the topic desired. Select the desired Help menu, in this case the QSS Green 2, then select the Show button in the upper left corner to show all of the manuals for this topic. To search the manuals for a particular topic such as loading paper, select the Search tab and enter Loading Paper. This will find all topics related to loading paper. Select the appropriate topic to view. This topic may also be added to the Favorites tab. This is done by selecting the Add button at the bottom of the Favorites tab. This is useful for topics that are used frequently. The Help display is a very useful tool and is a good idea to become familiar with this. Most questions about the system may be answered by using the System Help.